Well, I want to welcome all of you to Women Impacting the Nation. This is one of our newest podcasts, and my name is Sue Trombino, and I am the president and founder of Women Impacting the Nation. And what we do at WIN is we educate and equip women and men with knowledge of God's truth about our faith, our family, and our freedoms, and then we help support those who take a stand for the Judeo-Christian principles upon which our country was founded. Now, I know that everybody out there loves to go and watch lots of different podcasts, but we're on the cool team. We're the cool team, and I think you're going to want to come and join us because when we show up, we win. And so what we're doing in this segment, in this podcast, is we're going to introduce you to all of our team. And I am so excited and I'm so blessed because we have an incredible team. And one of our team members is Debbie Faris. And so what we're gonna do is get to know. This is our get to know part of WIN, is getting to know all of our gals and guys, because we never forget our men. I want you to understand that. There's a lot of great groups out there that are just for women and moms and all that, and that is awesome. But we are women impacting the nation. We never forget our men. It's WOMEN, and that's really important because our men need to be edified. Our men need to step up to the plate, and we'll get into another segment with that. But today we have Debbie Faris with us, and I am just really excited that you're part of our team, Deb. You are an incredible gal. You have a plethora of things that you're doing, and we want the audience of WIN to know who you are and why you're part of WIN. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so for the audience, I am ancestrally Chinese, but I was born in Panama, I was raised in Venezuela, and educated in Mexico. And now I am a proud American citizen. So no, Sue, I'm not the CIA. I am just a very educated and worldly citizen of the world. Why did I get
And educated you are, and she's just awesome. We have a lot of fun together.
Yes, we do. Why did I get involved with WIN? Well, honestly, because of my background, it was very easy for me to understand that something very strange happened in 2020. I could see it happening, and then when it actually did happen, it was stunning because we're in America, we're in the United States. This is not supposed to happen. But unlike American citizens, when you live abroad, when you live in a third world country, you understand that the government is not taking care of you and that everybody's corrupt. That's a fact of life. You work around that. So for me to see that happen here was, number one, shocking, but also very concerned because I am widowed. I was widowed 13 years ago. I raised 3 boys. At that time, they were all under the age of 10. And really what's happening in this country is not the legacy that I want my children to have. And so that's why I got involved with it.
So before that, though, Deb, you were just raising your children. You're a single mom, and I do want to talk because I know you wrote a book, and I want our audience to know your book. You need to read this book; it's amazing. And before 2020, you're raising your children. And really, a lot of people say, well, this is about politics, but this really isn't politics. This is about our lifestyle, our life, and how, why we really live in the greatest country on the face of the planet. We're not perfect, but we're exceptional.
And let's talk about that. That is important because, no, I was not really involved in politics. After my husband passed away, I really had to buckle down and be very selective as to the things that I was doing. My background is in industrial engineering. I've got an MBA in marketing and international business. I worked for a Fortune 500 company, a decade in manufacturing. I traveled the world. I had 30,000 miles. Before I was 30, I was 1 million miles.
Oh, wow.
So I know my way around the world. And but when my husband died, I had to buckle down and really focus on raising my children. And that's what I love about this country, because even though I love my Latin American ancestry and heritage, the things that I was able to achieve here because of the system, with hard work and determination, I have been able to advance my 3 sons in ways that are amazing. My eldest son is working in aerospace. He's building rockets. He went to an Ivy League. My second son already has a startup. And these are wonderful things about this country that you would not be able to achieve, even with all the hard work in Latin America. So I personally have a debt of gratitude to America because things that you dream only in other countries are possible here. But then you see what's happening. and my radar was up with COVID. I saw something wasn't right. I saw the narrative. And speaking of the narrative, I stopped watching the TV in 2012 because when I saw the coverage of
You're part of the cool team.
I'm part of the cool team. No, but you know what? Part of the cool team means that you're going to be discerning and you're going to say, do you really think I'm that stupid that you can put this lie in front of me when they did the coverage of Benghazi? I'm like, I knew that is not even possible. And yet they really think that we're going to eat that up. So that was to me a very pivotal moment. And I think when you're not watching the TV and then you start seeing the just inconsistencies with what you know is truth or you discern and what they're telling you, something's not right. And that was a big part for me.
And then, it was interesting that we have a lot in common. I think who really introduced us was Tatiana.
Yes.
Okay, and she's another WIN gal, and actually her daughter was one of our interns, Georgina, and just incredible, awesome young gal. She's in college. I think she's in her sophomore year or junior year now. But we have that in common too, because our audience should know that I'm from Venezuela, so I'm español, but we're going to do this in English. We're not going to do this in Spanish.
We will do a Spanish.
We will, yes, we will. And then right behind the cameras right here, we have another gal who's part of our team who you're going to get to know, and her name is Dorcas. And she's from Peru. And of course, our camera guy and our social media guy is also from Peru. So I think sometimes when, we just all kind of gravitated together, because when you live overseas, you see things that Americans don't. And I'm not saying that Americans don't get it. I'm not saying that at all. But when you live overseas, you brought up a point, Debbie, is that we understand it's the Banana Republic. And when we say the Banana Republic, what is that? I mean, really, the government is really corrupt. I mean, they're not blessed like we are in America, that we were founded on Judeo-Christian principles and God's providential hand was on this country. And so, number one is to whom much is given, much is required. Number two, when God has given you something, we're supposed to be a good steward of what God's given us. And we really haven't been. And that's kind of, I think, why we're in this mess that we're in. But also, the Lord does say to occupy until I come. And we have not occupied, really. We're in America, and I think a lot of time, we have been apathetic, we've been disengaged, we've been disinterested, and we're losing America. And I always ask people, it's like, well, if we lose America, where do you go from here?
There's nowhere else to go, folks.
Yeah.
I've lived in 4 countries. There's nowhere else to go.
I've lived in 9. There's no place else to go. It's awesome to go travel. It's awesome. It's an incredible education to live overseas. It really is. You get educated with things that you can't even get in college. We've been blessed, right?
Yes.
But where do you go from here? Because everybody in the world, Debbie, wants to come here, but where do we go? So what we want to do in all of these podcasts that we're doing, we're going to have fun with it. We're going to be different. We're going to speak truth and facts, not emotion, not conjecture.
And we're going to learn because
yes,
as highly educated as I am, there are many things that I don't know about the Constitution, and I have learned through Sue's mentorship. So I think that's really important to pass this on, not only to our children, but to the newly immigrants, such as myself, that, we come to this country, we think there are certain safeguards, and then we don't know the principles on which they were founded, which have provided these opportunities for the generations that we want to come.
Yes. And so, my purpose today, our purpose, I should say, today, is to really introduce you to Debbie. And then you're going to hear about the rest of our team, because they're going to be doing podcasts on the foundation of this country, why we are the greatest country on the face of the planet, what has really happened. We're going to get into things that people probably don't want to talk about. And, from the deep state to the shadow government, those are real things. And, people may say that we're conspiratorial, but we're not. These are things that are factual. And what we like to tell everybody is, listen to what we're saying, but then go do your own due diligence. But where are you getting your information from? Because if you're getting your information from the TV, that's a red flag. No pun intended, right?
Yes.
Because it's not what the TV's saying, not even Fox News. And I'm not saying everything they say is wrong, but there's so much propaganda. And with Dorcas, who you'll get to know from Peru, Debbie from Venezuela, me from Venezuela, but from living in Central South America, there is so much propaganda. And and I think Americans are starting to wake up because it's becoming personal, don't you think?
I think it really, unless you've lived in other countries and you see that it's becoming personal, we are so blessed to live in this country where we still have food, things work, we have electricity, we have running water, an education sort of system.
I don't know. I think I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah,
our education system, I'm sorry.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Homeschool your kids. I'm sorry.
Or parochial schools.
Or parochial, yeah.
But, I think that's where the disconnect has happened, is that most people think they're under the impression that things ought to be working. Who would do these things?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we not have transparency in government? But when you start really digging in, you realize, no, that ship sailed many, many moons ago. And we are right now in a situation where everybody, some way or another, has to assume some responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to give you tools as to how you can participate in getting this country back to at least course correct. I don't say we're going to solve all the problems, but we have to get engaged. Because if we don't do this now, we're going to be, or we are, Venezuela on steroids.
Exactly. And we are the world's beacon of hope. If America goes down, so does the rest of the world. And everybody out in the world is praying that we don't go down. So it's really going to be up to we the people. Don't rely on the government, to do things. And I think that's where, we're going to have Debbie come and talk about a lot of different things. We have been very blessed to get to know a lot of the people that are on the front lines of the battlefield. And they're getting the arrows. And, we're behind that. I mean, sometimes we feel like we're on the front line. We are in the front lines of the battlefield. I'm just going to say that. WIN has been on the front lines of the battlefield. And I think that's why we've been blessed, because when you are on the front lines of the battlefield, that's when you're going to see the miracle of God. But I'm just really excited to get to know you better, Debbie. And we're going to take a little brief break and have our sponsors, help us with that. So if any of you are really good conservative Christian sponsors, and we'd love to have you as sponsors. But anyway, but we're going to be right back, and we're going to continue this talk with Debbie Faris. And just remember, when we show up, we win. But go to womenimpactingthenation.org, and we'll look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes.